Hello again, everyone, to another video. This is one I've seen going around on YouTube. Um, it's the 2022 vinyl thread, started by Rob Walker, who I'll put his channel below. And essentially, what it is, it's just a way to kind of pull some albums out of your archives that you don't necessarily always talk about. Um, 22 questions. I've got them all right here, and I'm just going to jump into it. So, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. And I apologize. So, I'm going to show CDs and records because I predominantly show CDs, but I had a few records to fit some of the descriptions. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. Question one is favorite album purchased last year in 2021. This is probably the one I listened to the most. This is Sky Full of Holes by Fountains of Wayne. It's actually a 10-year-old album. This will be 12 years this year, but I really started getting the Fountains of Wayne this year, and just a killer power pop summary album by Fountains of Wayne, and it's their last album that they put out before they broke up, and then of course it will be their final album. It's because Adam Schlesinger, the main songwriter, passed away due to COVID. So that's my favorite album purchased in 2021. All right, next is to show an album by the person or band that you saw live first, like your first live concert. So my first live concert was Gordon Lightfoot, and I would say, in 9th grade. I was very young. I was one of the younger people in the audience, and I'm actually supposed to see Gordon again next month at the same location. But I don't own any Gordon Lightfoot. My dad is a major Gordon Lightfoot fan, and when I was living at home, I just listened to all of his Gordon Lightfoot CDs. So with that being said, I have this album that Neil Young put out, where he sings Gordon Lightfoot's song Early Morning Rain, and there's a killer version. He also does If You Could Read My Mind by Gordon Lightfoot. So one Canadian paying tribute to another Canadian. So there's first person I saw live was Gordon Lightfoot. Next, an album by a duo. This is the Black Keys, Dan Auerbach and what's his name? Patrick something. That's gonna kill me now. Why am I blanking? I apologize to all my Black Keys fans. Patrick Carney, golly. Guitarist and drummer. They put out this little set. It came out in 2021, commemorating the 10-year anniversary of El Camino. This is blues, garage, rock, a little bit of country thrown in there. Just a killer, raw rock and roll album. So Black Keys are a duo, and I apologize to Patrick. Next, show an album still in the shrink wrap. That would be, I think this is my second to most recent record that I've purchased. Actual vinyl. This is the debut by the Monkees on the Run Out Grooves label, and I have heard from my friend Tommy Burton, howdy Tommy, that this is the best sounding copy of this album, and I think there were only 3,000 made, and this is 2,055, and yeah, I've heard great things about it. This is just on standard black vinyl, and I can't wait to spin this once I get my turntable up and running. Next is a concept album. I've shown this one before. This is Way Out West by Marty Stewart and his Fabulous Superlatives. This is produced by Mike Campbell of Petty and the Heartbreakers, and though not really, to purists, it might not be considered a concept album, but the theme of the Old West and like 1950s and 60s Bakersfield, um, throw in a little bit of Jangle from the Byrds, and like Laurel Canyon, and this is essentially what Way Out West is. It's kind of a love letter to um, California, and it's a great album, one of my favorites. Next, an album that I haven't played yet. I've opened it. This is the 50th anniversary of Arthur, or the Decline and Fall of the British Empire by the Kinks. This is the 2-disc set. I've opened it. I also have Village Green Preservation, as well as Lola, and this is the one that fits right between them. I just haven't spun it yet. No reason. Just haven't done it. I've had it for a good while too. An artist that I discovered last year. This is Lord Huron. I know I've talked about them several times, and I always show the same album. So I thought I would show another one of their albums. This is their album Strange Trails, which is the first album that I listened to. This is probably their biggest album record-wise. The song The Night We Met got some radio play, and so did Hurricane and Fool for Love. All kind of got alternative radio airplay. This is a really great record. It's their second studio release. So Lord Huron, I love them, and I've got all their records now. A live album, well, I had to talk about Nesmith, Michael Nesmith, and the First National Band Redux live at the Troubadour, 2018. Killer live album put out by 7A Records. You've got Nesmith playing the material basically off of the first 3 First National Band albums, as well as a couple other songs that he also does different drum and Papa Jean's Blues. So it's a really cool live set. I highly recommend getting this. It sounds great. The band is tight, and Nesmith is in very fine voice, even in his 70s. Let me take a pause here. Decaf tonight. Alrighty. An album from a different continent. This is Cucumber Castle by the Bee Gees. Of course, the Bee Gees, kind of got their feet wet in Australia, but really, made it big once they got over into England. And this is when the Bee Gees were just a duo. It's their one and only album, I believe, as a duo. Robin Gibb, one of the twins, left to pursue a solo career and put out a studio album about the time that this one came out. So they kind of fought each other on the charts a little bit, but it's a great folk country album. And it's early Bee Gees. It's before disco. And I know that Chris Prophy talked about the Bee Gees pre-disco. They were killer. The very, very British, very kind of psyche 60s pop, a la the Beatles, or I don't know, like maybe some Mamas and the Papas, like that kind of stuff. So check out Cucumber Castle. I really love that album. Album with a price sticker still on the jacket. That would be this album by Jackson Browne. This is the Holdout, and Holdout, and you can see I paid $8 for it at a secondhand store near me, and it's got some couple of good songs. Holdout, Of Missing Persons, Call It Alone. Just Jackson Browne, what a great songwriter, and I was happy to get this for $8. The record itself looks pretty clean, so I was happy to get it. A punk or new wave album. I don't do a lot of new wave or punk, so the closest thing that I had was the Stray Cats, and this is their album 40 that came out in 2019. This was in celebration of their 40th anniversary. When the Stray Cats came out, they were very much punk rock, even though they were playing rockabilly music, but they were a power trio. Slim Jim Phantom, Brian Setzer, um, and Lee Rocker really, kind of took the 80s by storm, kind of going back 30 years to the music of the 50s. So this is the closest that I have to punk or new wave in my collection, I believe. Next is to show a box set. This is Crooked Piece of Time by John Prine. I've done a unboxing video of this. You have his 7 records from his Asylum and Atlantic years. So it essentially goes from 71 to 80, from his debut all the way up to Storm Windows. So you're getting John Prine, Diamonds in the Rough, Sweet Revenge, Common Sense, Bruised Orange, Pink Cadillac, and Storm Windows, as well as a cool little booklet in here, which I think there's the sticker, and I think this was written by David Frick, but as in like before, yep, David Frick did the essay to start off that booklet. So he does everything. He also did the liner notes of that Black Keys set that I just showed. All right, next, album with a sporting theme. This one is also still sealed. This is A Boy Named Charlie Brown by the Vince Guaraldi Trio. Of course, you can see old Chuck on the pitcher's mound there. And this was from 1972 from the special of the same name. And I believe there are in this set some pop-out baseball cards with the Peanuts characters on it. So I'll be excited to listen to this. I love Vince Guaraldi. So that's got a sporting theme on the jacket. A jazz album. This also has the price sticker on it for $5. This is Miles Davis doing Porgy and Bess by George Gershwin. Really great soundtrack. It's one of the biggest selling plays on Broadway, and Miles Davis does the soundtrack justice with his phenomenal trumpet playing. So I mean, you got him doing Summertime. It Ain't Necessarily So. There's some big hits. I Loves You Porgy is a big song, so that's my jazz album. I love Miles. Really have been getting into him lately. Now, next is to show a best of records. So I've got to show Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. This is their greatest hits, which has all the big hits on it. It's got 16 hits, and then it included 2 unreleased hits at the time, which ended up, one of them became a huge hit, and that was Mary Jane's Last Dance. He also does a version of Thunderclap Newman's Something in the Air. And I listened to this album non-stop when I was a kid in middle school. And this is kind of what helped break ground into the catalog of Tom Petty for me. Next, show an album with at least 8 people on the cover. This is another John Prine. This is his live in person and on stage. And if you see there in the dark, that's the back of John Prine, kind of throwing his arms open to the applause of the audience who are behind him. And there are hundreds of people in the audience there looking at him. So I think this counts. He does all the big hits on here. This came out in 2010, but you have, Spanish Pipe Dream, In Spite of Ourselves, Paradise, Unwed Fathers, Angel from Montgomery, Mexican Home. Plus he does duets with people like Iris DeMent, Sarah Watkins from Nickel Creek, Josh Ritter, Emmylou Harris, and Kane Welsh Kaplan. And then he's just got a top-notch band as well. So there's my album for that question or prompt. Number 17 is to show a soundtrack. This is the soundtrack to Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. It was a DreamWorks movie, animated film, and the music is done by Bryan Adams. And I really need to listen to this again, but the big hit was Here I Am. Killer songs on here. I love Bryan Adams. Say what you will about him. I think he's a great songwriter, and I've been fortunate to have seen him twice in concert. Next, show some VCLT, and for people that don't know what that is, that means a Vinyl Community Love Train. I didn't come up with the name. I'm not a big fan of that acronym, but you know, what can you do? This was given to me by Rod, the Happy Hippie. This is Clutch Weathermaker Vault Series Volume 1. I haven't spun this yet because, like I said, I am in search of a turntable. But I do thank Rod for sending that to me, and I will spin it when I get the turntable. Next, show an album with no writing on the jacket. And if you don't count The Spine, which was not part of the original album, of course you got Abbey Road, my favorite Beatles album, second favorite album of all time. What can you say about this album? You know, it's been said. I won't say it. It's my favorite. Next, show a 7-inch single. This is a Record Store Day release by a group called the Dirty Knobs, and this is the song is Humdinger, which is a J.J. Cale song. Who, of course, you know J.J. Cale, big songwriter, well respected. Leonard Skinner, Eric Clapton, John Mayer loves him. The Heartbreakers loved him. And the B-side is called Feelin' High. Of course, the Dirty Knobs, if you don't know, this is Mike Campbell's. It was his side project from the Heartbreakers before the Heartbreakers stopped touring after Tom Petty's death, and now it's his main gig. They put out an album in early 2020, and I think they were planning on doing a new one early this year. So I'm excited for that. And this doesn't count toward the next question, but it is on yellow vinyl. So that's kind of neat. And I'm excited to play that too, because they're a killer band. If you don't know the Dirty Knobs album, it's self-titled. Well, no, excuse me. It's called Reckless Abandon. Check it out. Number 21, show some colored vinyl. This is my newest record that I've purchased. This is Alvarado by the Wild Feathers. I did an unboxing video of it not too long ago, and I also have it on CD, but there's the label. It's on New West Records, and it is absolutely beautiful. I'm not going to take it out, but you can see there it's different on both sides. Absolutely beautiful. New West Records. If you don't know New West Records, check them out. They're a great label. Probably my favorite label right now. And lastly, show an album from 1982. I'm going to close with Mr. Van Morrison, one of my favorite albums by him. Beautiful Vision. Great songs like Northern Muse, Dweller on the Threshold, Beautiful Vision, She Gives Me Religion, Cleaning Windows. Just great. A lot of people said Van kind of got boring in the 80s. Van hasn't made a bad album. None of his albums are bad. He's got some that are like, but he's never made a bad album, in my opinion. But thank you all for watching this. It's probably too long, but I thought it would be fun to do this video. Check out Rob's original video, and like I said, I'll try to put the link below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'm looking forward to seeing some more videos following this thread. So thank you all very much, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon. So take care.